Hey, it's Prerak and I've spent the last 7 months of my life fixing this car right here.
Multiple problems with the engine. There is a misfire.
And it's out. And it's out and it's, oh my god. The block is done for. It is gone. I've uploaded 13 videos on it and the car still looks like this. Does it look complete? Obviously not. Let's fix that. When I first got this car, I knew that I require some of the interior bits and pieces. I also knew that I require some exterior bits and pieces as well. Some is an understatement. We require almost everything at the front. Headlight, bumper, bonnet, so much. So let's go ahead and buy everything we need. So the car goes from looking like this to this. I cannot believe that it is in this stage. Stick till the very end of this video to see how it all happened. There were a lot of hurdles along the way, but it's done. So stay tuned. So initially I thought that I would get entire another C7 A6 and treat it as a donor car, and I would trade in my C6 A6 as well, so that the cost of the C7 would be slightly less, and then I would swap all the parts I require and again trade off that shell or scrap it away, so that my car would be complete for a much cheaper price. That was the equation I had in my head, but we did not end up doing that. So we went to Doraha, where the car was situated, which we were going to pick, but when we talked about the money, the cost for the parts came out to be much less, and they said that just take the parts. And that is what we did. There were two cars there. There was a white A6 and a dark grey A6. The white A6 was half sold, I mean the nose just wasn't there and we needed the nose. But the grey A6 had the nose. So we picked up everything from the grey A6. From the bonnet to the headlights to the bumper to all the shields that are there at the bottom. We even took off all of its interior. We opened up all of it, including the seats, the center console, the rear seats because we don't have rear seats, and we even took the steering wheel, the airbag, the entire flooring as well. And to open that, it wasn't very easy. We did have a help there, but it took us a lot of time to open all of that up. The interior of the car was in a great shape, much better than mine. The reason is they both were getting scrapped only because they were DL registered, that is Delhi registered, and their age had expired. That was the only reason. Nothing was wrong with those cars. They both were on, they were engine start. So everything was clean. After ripping the entire interior apart to the carpet, we moved on to the exterior. We removed its headlights, but before removing them, we checked if they worked perfectly. When we were satisfied with their functionality, we removed them and wrapped them properly. Then we removed the bonnet as well, because the bonnet on my car is slightly dented and it's not gonna get fixed because it's aluminium. I also needed the bumper because, as you can see, the bumper is missing on my car. So we removed that bumper as well. We needed the tie member too. So next up, we opened that up entirely and just took the tie member, not the radiator, not the condenser, nothing else, just the tie member because mine is molten. They didn't have taillights unfortunately, but I just needed one driver side taillight, which I got from them. But my other taillights don't properly function. We'll see to that in the future. I will show you everything along the way in much more detail. So I have got everything now. Let's start taking this car apart so we can install all of it. So let's jack the car up on all four corners so that I have a stable place where I can work on everything, because the only way this car is leaving the garage now is when it is entirely completed. Yes, entirely. So these are the seats that I've got as part of the interior. Now they were slightly dirty, but you can see by just cleaning this once, this looks a lot better than that one. So once I clean it with leather cleaner, these will be brand spanking new. I also got the entire carpet because the carpet out of this car, even though it could have been cleaned, but it is filled with rat pee and poo, so I did not want to clean that. It is filled with bacteria and I would have a much better result cleaning this carpet than that one. So I would rather clean this and install it in the car. So we'll clean this up later on. Right now, let's gut the interior so that we are ready to put this new carpet in it. So let's begin the tear down by first removing all the seats. Now I've just removed the driver's side seat from the car and look at the major difference between the two. This has so much more life left in it. Now obviously if I were to get this reupholstered, it would look somewhat same, but the foam on this is really tired and it's done for, while this is still stiff. This looks much better. Look at the drastic difference. Alright, with the interior taken apart, let's move on to the exterior. I need to open up a lot of stuff on the exterior, especially the tie member. But before I do that, I will remove this fender, the other fender and the side skirt as well, because I'm going to get all of this painted. There are some things on the car which will get painted once the car is ready to go there. But before that, I'm going to get the bumper, bonnet, both the fenders and both the side skirts painted because they're accessible, they are removable. I'm going to get them painted right now. So I have the bumper taken apart already. I have removed the grille. I have prepped it for paint. So I'll drop that, drop the bonnet as well, remove the fenders and take them. So let's get started on these. So I have sent some of the stuff for paint like the bonnet, bumper and the side skirts. I could not remove these fenders even though the bolts are pretty accessible. There are two particular bolts which are behind a trim piece back here. And while removing the trim piece, it was just getting broken off into tiny pieces. So I didn't want to cause any more damage. So I've left this on. We will get this painted while the rest of the car will be painted like the quarter panels and all. But for now, all of the rest of the stuff has been sent for paint. We can focus on replacing this tie member. So let's do that. So there are a few reasons to replace the tie member. First of all, the car sustained a small fire on this corner. So a lot of these pieces are just molten off. And there are some brackets at the bottom which are broken on this tie member as well. The top radiator support, I mean, it's pretty much non-existent. And we don't have the hook that goes here. Even though that could have been bolted on, but it just made more sense to just get a new tie member. So here it is. Now what I'm going to do is, since there are slight differences between diesel and petrol, I'm going to mix and match some bracketries and make one good tie member. For that, I need to open this, and I'm dreading that part because opening this means taking off the radiator, which means all the coolant will be lost again and I'll have to bleed it all over again. I'm not looking forward to that, but that is something we need to do. Let's begin. So with the core support removed, I will assemble all of it outside, and once all of it is assembled, I will install it. But before I pack the core support, I need to address something. Listen to this. These bearings are making a lot of noise. Even this one is at high speed. Only bearing which is not making noise is this one. But this is bent, this is a tensioner, so we need all new bearings. This is a tensioner, these two are bearings, and this is a tensioner as well, so we'll need all of that. Let's open this up and get new ones, install them, and then we will put the core support back in. But anytime you hear a lot of rolling noise from your engine, Most probably it is these accessory bearings. That's a lot of noise. It should be making that. So look at all of this rubber and dirt. Watch this. So while we wait for the parts on the front, let's take about more of the interior. We need to remove these seats and the carpet that is beneath them because we have this carpet as well. Look at the condition of it. This cannot be cleaned. So look at the difference between these two backrests. The headrests are totally good in this, while in that I don't know what has happened here. And it is so filthy. So it just made sense to get new ones. Obviously again, if I got them reupholstered, they should have been fine, but the center armrest of that is totally broken, while this works perfectly. It goes down, the mechanism is fine, cup holders are fine, everything is good with this, even this is good. Oh god, even this exists. Nice! The first aid kit. Looks like it has been opened once, but it's okay. We'll get everything new inside. But this bag exists. It doesn't exist in my Audi A3. Wow, that's great. So yeah, this is just much more intact, so made sense to get it. So I managed to open this. This was stuck, and this is the condition of the center armrest. The handle is broken, the lid is broken. The cup holder should work, yeah, cup holders work, but it just didn't open because of that, and this mechanism is really jammed up. No point in saving this. As filthy as this is, I'm not going to open it inside the workshop. Now I'm going to clean the entire floor of this car so it gets as white as possible, because some areas are really white. The panels which are never lifted, under that it's really white. And these seat belts. You can see how filthy it is right here, but if I release more of it from the inside, you can see this rich beige color. I'm going to clean it and apply dresser so it looks exactly as clean as this, like that. It's a good thing that we lifted the carpet, because we can see all the fun rats have had in this car, and they made their home right here because they even broke the wiring for this footwell vent sensor. And looking at all this, I am really tempted to lowering the dashboard as well, because I have removed pretty much everything in the interior. It's just the dashboard that's left on. So I might remove the dashboard too and see if they've done any sort of wiring in there. If you remember that gong the speaker plays anytime I open the door, I know why it does that. The reason is there is a footwell light down here, and the connection for it, the wiring for it is entirely missing. It's not there. I'm pretty sure the connector for that has gone to the speaker, and that is why anytime I open it or anytime the signal goes to the light, that speaker gongs. That is the reason, and there is no way to access it unless I remove the dashboard, so I might do that. So we'll see. Anyway, I'm going to clean the interior up now. So with the interior gutted, it is ready to accept the new carpet. But before I can put the new carpet in, I need to clean it thoroughly. So while I do that, Mr. Ram has joined us, and he will be working on the exterior of the car because this paint is really dull, and he can fix it because he has brought his detailing tools with him. So I will leave him to it. I'm pretty sure he can get the white out of this yellow again. So I'll let him do his magic while I clean the carpet. Now this carpet is not as dirty that it needs a thorough cleaning, but this is the only chance I'm going to get to clean it properly, scrub every corner of it. So I'm going to do that before I install it in the car. Rest, I'm going to vacuum it first and then wash it. Let's begin. With just one initial pressure wash, you can see the amount of dust, dirt, or whatever has been collected on the sides in forms of puddles. But this looks a lot cleaner with just one pressure wash pass. Imagine once I put surf on it, scrub it properly, how much cleaner it'll look. All the grime of over 13 years is now coming off. So this is the reason I've wanted to do it. But the only problem is there's a lot of sponge at the bottom and it will take a couple of days to dry out. I hope it doesn't get mossy before that. So let's hope for the best and clean it properly.
So I've now completed the basic section of the paint correction part, which is masking, and it is now complete. I've masked the whole right side. Basically, we are not going to do the fenders because they need a respray. So now I'll be sanding the doors, both of the doors, the door handles and the quarter panel, including this whole upper part. Roof will be done on a later stage, but currently I'm going to sand these all of these parts with a 1500 numbers sandpaper and then with a 2500 sandpaper. Now, I am using very basic tools like a very basic polisher and very basic compound and polish which can easily be found in the market, because we are not going to make it a perfect car as of now. We are just going to remove all of the imperfections and make the paint shine. After that, we'll see that what exactly needs to be done. Then we'll continue with the proper paint correction thing. So very basic things to start the sanding procedure. 1500 number sandpaper and a spray bottle with water and a little bit of soap in it. So I'm just going to spray it over here and some on the sandpaper as well. So I'm just going to sand it, including the edges. Now the masking is helping here. It will not let me scratch the chrome finishing which is around the door, and with a little bit of pass only, it will clear up most of the paintwork. Not all of it, most of the paintwork. The rest correction will be done by the compound and polish. And this is a very I'm using it with a very light hand because end of the day it's a sandpaper, so I cannot force it into the paint. And the basic sanding is now done. Now what visibly can be seen here is this area right from here onwards is very dirty, and this area right from here to here has become surprisingly clean. So this is how the whole right side of the car and then the left side of the car will be sanded down. And after that we will start with the basic paint correction. I'm saying basic paint correction because I'm not using any of the fancy stuff here, fancy pads or fancy chemicals for this paint.
Now I've cleaned it as much as I could. I've scrubbed it with surf, I've pressure washed it twice now, so it looks much better than before. There were a lot of dirt spots and there were some tricky spots which were just which didn't want to get cleaned, but now it's all clean, especially the corners. There was a lot of dirt stuck there, so I've cleaned all of that. Looks much better. Now it'll just take a couple of days to dry, so let's leave it at that. It's insane how white this car is. I always thought it is slightly yellow, but after the initial wet sand, you can see it's white. Ram has done such a good job, and this is just a wet sand right now. It still needs compound and polish. Imagine what it'll turn out to be. Look at it, this is so dull. And it's all white. Great job. सही है भाई. So now the paint correction is done and I cannot believe how well the paint has turned out. Obviously it was sitting for such a long time that the dirt was just engulfed in the clear coat. But after cutting that initial layer, this is so good. I thought I would get the entire car repainted, but now I don't need to. Ram did a really good job with this. Look at this fender. The entire car was like this, and now it's silky smooth. It is so good, it is so white, looks great. Now I don't need to get it entirely repainted, just the boot, the rear bumper and the fenders are left. Other than that, the entire car looks new. There are some artifacts here and there, but I can get them touched up. That's not a problem. With the exterior looking perfectly fine now, let's move on to the interior. We need to remove the dashboard. Let's get started on that. So 90% of the interior is gutted and I've found a lot of surprises beneath the carpet and I'm pretty sure I'm going to find more under the dashboard. I already see some wiring repairs they've done and I do not wish to put this car back together with minor wiring issues. So I'm going to go the extra mile, remove the dashboard as well, clean up everything under there, and even that speaker will be fixed. So let's get started on removing this. Almost there. I just need to free up the other side. The dashboard is now free. And it's out. Why is it so heavy? Oh, it's the airbag that's heavy. The rest of it is light. But it is surprisingly in a decent condition. It is missing a lot of locks, which we can replace. It is missing a lot of screws. Good thing I got a lot of screws. And I was right about the theory that the footwell light connector was sent to the speaker that sits right here. That was exactly the case. This right here is the connector for the footwell light and this right here is connector for the speaker. They can be mismatched and I will show you. This is the one for the speaker. Goes right in, and now the footwell light. It goes right in as well, so that is what they did. Speaker seems fine. Yeah, it's fine, even though this poor thing has been gonging every time the door opened. Oh, it says Bose, very nice. Well, it does have the Bose system. But it's a good thing I've opened it. I'm going to wrap all of this in felt tape and properly secure everything, fill up the missing bolts and locks. So it'll be rattle free. There are some cuts here and there. I will repair them. But it is surprisingly like in a decent condition. It's not in a good condition, but it's in a decent condition. They didn't ruin a lot when they were down here. So anyway, let's fix everything. I found something very interesting. This group of wires is just taped, and now I'll need to figure out where each one of these is supposed to go and rewire it properly. So I'm glad I opened this to fix everything. What is this? So I've spent some time and I'm going to spend a lot more fixing the wiring behind the dashboard. I'm so glad I removed it. Some wires are just entirely missing, some connectors are entirely missing, so I went ahead and got some connectors. A lot of bolts, clips, so much stuff was just missing that I went ahead, did another round of collecting parts, and I've got a lot more to complete everything behind the dashboard. Other than that, I'm just going to remove all the vinyl tape and replace it with felt tape. Some wires that were burnt, I cut those wires, replaced them with color matched wires because it's really necessary that we match the colors so that it is easier to diagnose in the future. Whoever diagnoses it, if it's me, if it's anybody else, they should know what color they are following. So I'm just going to spend a lot more time here, going to leave you on a time lapse and continue. But there is one thing I wish to show you. So this right here is a bracket which goes behind the dashboard. The steering column comes right here. So this is entirely rusted, and this should not be rusted at all. This was powder coated from factory, so I'm going to get this powder coated as well because it is so rusty that I just could not ignore it. So I had to pull out the metal frame behind the dashboard and then pull this out as well. I'm going to get this fixed, but how this got rusted is interesting because a rat was sitting right behind the dash for sure. I mean, during the life of this car, a rat must have made its nest over here because there was a lot of sponge here as well. And this is all due to rat pee. That is why I'm wearing gloves now. I wasn't wearing them earlier. Now I'm wearing them because I'm holding this. This is because of rat pee. I feel like that is really acidic, and that's the reason a lot of the stuff behind the dash was slightly rusty. But this was the most rusted, which needs attention. So we'll get this powder coated and some other stuff as well that I have removed. So gotta get this done. And I'm going into extreme detail with this car. I want to complete it 100%, and that takes a lot of time. I'm going into such details that I even got these tiny clips which go in the dashboard, which hold the tweeter trim. So I'm going to complete these tiny clips as well. Everything should be complete in this car. So that is why it is taking so long. This buzzer was missing one screw as well. So I went ahead and removed it from the Audi that is getting scrapped. Now it's complete. This won't rattle now. I even went ahead and got this AC trim entirely. Sorry, the AC vents, because the trim that surrounds these vents was broken on the original one. So instead of just taking the trim, I just got the entire vent because even the wiring is clean on this and they have tampered with the wiring on this one. So this should work much better and look much better as well. Another thing that I got, these fuse box carriers. I will show these in detail later on, but the thing is, you see these locks, you have to push them down and then remove these carriers. But obviously, in repeating fashion, they just used brute force and broke them. So I got these as well, so that the fuse box, the entire fuses can be mounted properly. So let's go ahead and start working now. This is what I'm talking about. They have broken the lock and just added a lot of vinyl tape to lock it in place. But obviously, if the lock is broken, how is it going to lock in place? See? Wait. See? This right here, broken. This is what it should look like. And that is the reason I've got the carriers. So this corner is now majority done, not entirely. I'm still going to cover up some wiring mess at the very bottom, but it is mostly done, mostly sorted. I have removed this much vinyl tape and replaced it with felt tape. I've repaired a lot of wires. I'm going to do the same on the other corner and then do the center. By then I will have that bracket for the dashboard from powder coating as well, and we're going to pack it all up. So now it's time to put everything back together because all of the wiring has been repaired and taped up properly. The couple of connectors that were missing, like this one, has been replaced, taped up. All of this was a mess. And now it is properly in felt tape. I even got this bracket behind the dashboard powder coated, because if you remember, this was really rusty and I couldn't just ignore it and move on with repairing just the wiring and putting the dashboard back in. I had to remove this and get it powder coated. It is much better now. It's not gonna rust for a long time to come. So let's install this and let's fix up everything else and put the dashboard back in. Just so I don't repeat the same mistakes they made, what I'm going to do is mark each and every wire for where it is supposed to go to. For example, this one is for sunlight penetration sensor and this can be mixed up for a different connector. So I'm just going to write sunlight penetration on it. How I know that is because I cross-checked the color of these wires to the diagrams that I have. So I know this goes there, and with this labeled, there is no way I'm going to mix it. So I'm just going to do that for most of the wires because some are really obvious, like this one goes to the instrument cluster, it is really obvious, but others can be mixed up. So I'm just going to mark them.
And if they had done this the first time, I wouldn't need to be in here redoing their work. Anyway, I cleaned the floor, the vents, and put on a new pair of gloves to set the carpet in place. Next came in this now cleaned center console, and the interior is already taking shape.
So as you just saw, the interior part is done. Obviously the seats, the trims and a lot of the stuff is left, but the carpet is in, the center console, the dashboard, they are in as well. They had the maximum wiring. I had to be really meticulous about that. Every connector should go to the correct place, every lock should fall in the correct place. So that part is done. Now all that's left is just to plonk the seats and put the trim pieces on. Anyone can do that. I mean, I don't have to pay that much attention to it. So the easy part is left and that's fine. The majority work is done. Now I did everything as best and OEM as possible. I even made sure to put the foam on top of the gear selector lever. Even though it was torn apart, I just glued it together because this car was missing that entirely. Anyway, for me, in my head, the interior is done. I can move on to the engine now. Now if you remember, those bearings were making a lot of noise. So I got all new bearings. Now this absolutely broke my bank, but this has to be done because those bearings were really old and noisy. So apart from just replacing these bearings, I have some things that I need to address before I can put the tie member on. There are a couple of things that I need to address at the front. First of all, this. You see all of this oil right here? It is the vacuum pump seal, most probably, that is failing. So I got a brand new seal from Audi itself. Even this was very expensive. Everything for this engine is expensive. If this was more common in India, maybe the parts would have been cheaper, but it's fine. Another thing that we need to address is this oil spillage at the bottom. Now this oil spillage is coming directly from the oil level sensor, oil level and temp sensor. So I need to remove that and reseal it. I did seal it previously, but maybe I just need to reseal it. So it's fine. We will do that and then we will install all of these brand new bearings. Let's unbox them. Even I haven't seen them. This is so smooth. Like there is no noise at all. One of them is making a slight noise, but it will go away when it will be tightened because the bearing has a little bit of play when it is not tightened. So, but so cool. If you remember the old ones, they were making all sorts of noises. Perfect. So let's start off by figuring out what's wrong under here. I'm not 100% convinced that this is leaking, although I see how it can, because there is some pitting here. Now I cleaned it the best I could at that time, or maybe I just used both the seals. So I'm going to redo this, clean it thoroughly, and then yeah, I think I used 2 seals because I knew that one was totally flaccid. So let's redo this again. This is 1. Okay, it's out. Now I have cleaned the mating surfaces as best as I could, and now they're properly clean. I'm just wondering if I should apply a small bit of sealant on it or not. I'll check online if people usually use sealant on here. If they don't, I'm not going to. If they do, I'm just going to smear a bit of it, because there is some misalignment going on over here, and I'm worried that it is going to ruin the gasket as well. It was expensive. So let's see. So people don't use any sealant on it. I'm just going to put it dry as well, and if it does leak, I'll open it, add a bit of sealant. But the thing is, I don't want to add any sealant to it. It has high chances of clogging other things, so it's fine. This seal is brand new and more than capable of holding the oil in. So with the vacuum pump sorted, let's address the sensor. But first we need to drain all the oil, and later on we'll just put fresh oil in. It will also give us a good idea if there are any metal flakes in this oil or any foreign particles. And it's pretty clear. I mean, yeah, there aren't any foreign particles. The drain bolt had some, but with the brand new engine, the oil is pretty clean. Yeah, no metal flakes. I was worried that there were going to be some, because the engine is knocking slightly, but I'm very sure that with the initial run-in that knocking will go away. Really thick oil, very thick. Alright, let's reseal this. I can see where it has failed as well. It was just not tightened properly, even though I remember tightening it. I'm just going to clean it properly and then reseal it and paste it. So I've spent at least half an hour cleaning everything, cleaning the sensor, cleaning the pan. The sensor had an infinite supply of oil somehow. It just kept getting oily after I kept cleaning it. So now it is really clean. Let's just apply a thin bead of sealant on it and then hope that it never leaks again. Alright, that's enough. That is a pretty thin bead. Not gonna overdo it. I have cleaned the pan as well. Let's make sure it goes on straight like that. Now I'm not going to tighten it entirely. I'm just going to tighten it loosely right now and entirely half an hour later, so that the sealant sort of forms a gasket and then I tighten it over it. Let's put the drain bolt back in as well. I should apply a new washer, but I just don't have it right now. So anyway, it's pretty new. It wasn't too tightened earlier. Has been put barely on the car, like it hasn't even driven on it. So, but anytime this is tightened, you should replace it. Since I forgot it last time, this will make sure I don't forget it this time. While we are waiting for the seal to dry a little bit, let's put all of these pulleys on. So one of the tensioners is not correct. We can modify it to make it work, but before I modify it, I just need to confirm if I can get a replacement. So I've just texted the vendor and hopefully I can get a replacement. If not, we'll modify it and put it on. But it's time to tighten the bolts. Let's do that. Alright, that's done. That is everything I wanted to do at the engine. Now I'm just going to leave you on a time lapse and pack it all up.
that tensioner was an updated part number, so I just modified it slightly and made it work. Next came in all the trims around the engine. I'm surprised how much stuff was missing. From grommets to bolts, I put all OEM stuff back in, exactly where it was supposed to go. I even replaced some worn down cosmetic parts with fresh ones. Then came in the extended coolant pump, and finally the condenser.
So as you can see, the core support is on, but this was from a TDI, and for this car it had to be modified slightly. This horn bracket had to be cut because both the horns on this car are not on one side. Because of this pump, the horns just cannot come here, and the bracket for this pump is entirely mangled. It is going in all sorts of directions and it is really difficult to straighten it. So I had ordered a different one because this pump was bad too. So the bracket and the pump came from the US, and now I'm just going to install them. Finally, these came I think 2 or 3 months ago, but now it's time that I put them on. So the bolts for this bracket go in these holes, but they are just entirely empty and they use rev nuts as standard. This is from the other core support, but obviously it's broken. So I have rev nuts right here and they are of the correct size. So I'm just going to rivet them in and I'll have a threaded hole in which I can put the bracket. So the holes already exist. So that is why I got a new tie member looking at all of this. And now we have threaded holes. Let's install this bracket. I also need to fix this headlight connector. This has been burnt to a crisp. Not good. This is not gonna work on the headlight. So I have this new connector right here. Let's cut all of these burnt wires and replace the connector. And it is done. Let's test it out. Is it working? It is. Nice. So with everything missing on the car, it is no surprise that even the horns were missing. So these horns are out of the C6 that is parked outside. So I'm just going to remove the horns from this bracket and put them on. This doesn't even have the connectors, so I'll have to rewire the connectors too. Let's do that and then we'll have horns. It is finally time to put the nose of the car on, headlights and the bumper. Everything else is done. I can't believe we are finally doing this. Let's unwrap these.
This was by far the most exciting bit of the restoration, seeing the car getting its facial features back, which it never had up until now.
With the bonnet on, the front end of the car is complete-ish. There are some things that are left, but that doesn't matter. The majority stuff is here. The bumper, headlight, bonnet. All of this was missing. None of this was there when I got the car, and this is the first time I'm seeing this as a complete A6. Again, complete-ish. Because I'm missing these covers, the headlight washer covers, I'm missing these grills. These were just not there, so I'll get these separately. There are a couple of trim pieces that are missing right at the bottom of the bumper, which cover the gap, but that's fine. I'm soon going to get the S6 kit anyway, so this is just to make the car complete. Anyway, with the exterior done, let's move on to the interior and push this car out of this garage. So we had drained the oil and now we need to start the engine. So let's put new oil in, add Ceratec as well, and then start the car so that we can move the seats around and finally take it out. Now with the steering wheel installed, I can finally drive the car, and it is put together enough that I can take it out of the garage and out of the air jail that I have put it for the last month and a half, I think, or an entire month. So it is time. Let's lower the car, take it outside, out of the garage, and bleed the coolant and complete the rest of the interior. Let's do that. Let's take it outside. वहाँ से ठीक है? So I'm going to continue filling this car with water as coolant so I can check for any leaks, and then when everything is sorted, I will replace all of it with proper coolant. So I'm going to continue to do that, but we have made major progress. The car is complete, it is out of the workshop. The engine still starts up, which is a great thing. I'm missing some covers here and there, but I mean, did you see what the car was when I got it? It has come such a long way. I cannot believe this. It has been a long journey. I don't know if you can tell, but it is really cold out, and it is going to take a lot more than just cold weather to stop me from working on this car. Anyway, this is the last bracket that I need to replace. You can see this is broken. This is complete. I mean, you get the idea. So I'll just replace this. This is for the headlight range module, by the way. I'll just replace this and complete the interior, because after that, I don't have anything to do in the interior. Feels so good to say that, damn. Okay. Let's complete the interior. Before I put the glove box in, I thought that I should address the noisy blower motor. So I opened it and it was still really clunky, it wouldn't move. And I just started tapping around like this, and look at the amount of dirt, dust and other debris that is just falling out of it. There is no way to open this. I opened these screws, but it just reveals the circuitry behind it. And the first time I removed it, there was a lot of debris as well. So I'm just going to tap around, hit it with some air, and hopefully it will stop making noise. If it will, I'll let you know in the future.
The blower motor was not fixed. We can ignore that for the time being. As the home stretch began, I started to do more and shoot less, and before we knew it, the car was complete. It was my first time looking at this car being complete and the interior too. With that done, it was time for its maiden voyage.
So anytime we get a new car or a project car of ours is complete enough that it can drive on its own, we bring it here to Gurdwara Nata Sahib. And we've brought the A6 here, which means that it is worthy enough to drive and it's here. This is the car's first trip out of the workshop and it is directly right here to take blessings from the divine and to show our gratitude. I'm so happy that the car drives and it's finally here. So, is the car complete? Well, cosmetically it might look like it, but it is not complete at all. We have paint pending, we have some mechanical work pending, we have a lot of trim pieces that are pending. Honestly, I would say that it is 80% there. But considering that I got this car at 10%, we have come a long way and I'm very happy with the progress so far. In my eyes, it is mostly complete, but I know how much work is still left. You might not think that much work is left, but yeah, there is a lot, which I will do slowly. I won't be uploading big episodes on this anymore. I will just complete small stuff and let you know that, hey, we did this and now it works. But most of it is done. This has been it. It has been a long month. I need a break. Thank you so much for watching and I will see you in the next one, maybe with a different car. Who knows?